Good morning, viewers. Welcome back to Women Now. Today, our debate topic: do we, as South Asian parents, do the right thing by pushing kids with too many activities? South Asians are stereotyped as model minorities with certain expected behavior. These stereotypes are encouraged by media stories such as articles by Forbes magazine entitled Indian Americans, the New Model Minority. Richwine claims the success of Indian Americans is often ascribed to the culture they bring with them. Highlights of parents being diligent and happy at how their children win spelling bee contests and so on. Let's talk to our panelists today. Vidya, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for joining us. And CHARMAINE, thank you so much. We are going to hear from Vidya first. You host the Safari Kids quiz show on Radio Zindagi. Now, you meet a lot of kids. What do you see? I mean, are we doing the right thing by putting them in so many classes and wanting them to really excel in each one of them?
Well, I think this is a sort of a phenomenon that I like to call childhood by proxy. We grew up, at least I grew up in India with very few opportunities. I lived in a very small town. The only time I actually was exposed to this was by the time I was in college. And you did whatever your parents thought, was available, and not a lot was available. We come to this country and suddenly there's this cornucopia of classes and musical instruments to learn and robotics, and it's a lot. And we want our kids to be exposed to all of it.
Well, that's a baggage you're carrying from India, from your childhood, and you want to do something over here to your kids that is actually stemming out of what you went through. And what do you have to say to that?
I think it is really hard for parents to separate their own desires and their own expectations from the experiences of their children. I think it is well intentioned. I think we want our children to have everything that we didn't have growing up. But sometimes what happens is that that burden of that expectation is overwhelming for the kids. Children are so busy. They're shuttled from one activity to the other. They really can't find what they truly care about, what they love to do. So I think sometimes stepping a little bit back, and while I think when they're younger, it's right to expose them to a lot of different activities, as they get older, letting them choose the few things that they truly care about and focusing on that is probably right.
Even when they're younger, would you say that too many activities are going to take the focus away from one? You put them in a lot of things. They are also not able to find their sweet spot, right?
Well, I'll give you an example. I went to a meeting of the Singularity University, which is somewhere local here.
Stanford.
And it's a really prestigious place. And I met this amazing young lady. She was at the Georgia State University. She was there on a scholarship. She played 2 varsity sports. She played volleyball and she played soccer. In addition, she kept a straight A grade point average, and she was very interested in film. And that's what she was there at Singularity U for. She was making a film on the impact of some third world problem and how it could be solved. So I actually asked her, how the heck do you have the time? She says, if I have a lot to do, a lot gets done. And I really felt that there are some people who can take it.
Well, are you confusing that with her talent? She may be gifted and talented, and we want that to happen to every kid. It's not going to happen. So by taking one example of a person who's really excelled and done good in all aspects, are we trying to duplicate that with someone else who may not excel, but we're pushing them? And by doing that, maybe not having them express what they really want to do.
Yeah, because this example that you're giving to me sounds phenomenal, because really it's like a certain type of a sport in filmmaking, along with maintaining grades. But unfortunately, a lot of the parents that sometimes I run across are not, allowing their children to explore as many diverse things. It's sort of like piano or violin or nothing else, Lego robotics or nothing else. And they're like the same 5 or 6 activities that all the children are doing, and they're all expected to go together and excel in all of them, whether they're interested or not. And I think that's where it sort of gets a little bit dangerous, because everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses, going out to the same activities.
The kids, when they're exposed to too many of these things, maybe then they find a sweet spot also. That could be argued by the parents who are doing it, is because they feel you get sharper and sharper the more you're put in, adverse
I love what
situation.
you're saying, and I think always there's a little bit of a balance. So like the same approach we have in education. where the younger they are, the more they're exposed to different things, but then slowly you start specializing. I think as parents, we need to allow the same opportunity for our kids. When they're very young, yes, let them get exposed to a lot of different things, but as they get older, it's quite fine, I think, to be focused on 1, 2, 3 things, no more, that really are things you're passionate at and that you can excel at.
See, the word focus and 1, 2, 3 doesn't happen. Focus means you put everything in one point, right? You cannot focus in 3 areas. Like,
one seems
you know,
a little
that girl
extreme.
excelled in so many things. But the other part of it is, you know, the parents, they are giving up their job, particularly the moms in this world. They're giving up their jobs because they have to cope with taking the kids to all these activities. They aren't finding anyone to do that for them, right? So how does that play with the mind of the child as a role model who do not see their parents or their mom trying to excel in her own career and constantly obsessed with the child's career? How does that play with their mind?
You'll be surprised. I think if you talk to someone who has excelled in a field, a lot of times they're going to credit their parents for pushing them. I'll give you an example from my own son. When he was younger, I put him in piano. It seems so cliched, right? Piano. Why? Because it was available, because it was nearby, because we had a convenient class and I could take him for it. There were many times in the course of his childhood where he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard. And you see, when you're learning a musical instrument, actually that's true about anything. But when you're learning something, you will face these little speed bumps where the level of difficulty just goes up a little bit, you know, and then that's where you're like, the child turns back and says, I can't do this anymore. And then you have 2 choices as a parent. You can be the sympathetic parent and you can say, it's okay, honey, you don't have to. Just do it at your level, your pace, whatever you do. Or you can be the tiger mom and say, no, it's got to be done. I don't care how you do it. So I think I took the second approach without being so dramatic about it. But I did say that, look, it's a hump. If you don't go over it, you're never going to get to where you want to be. And like anything else, you like something once you're good at it. So if you're the parent,
do you think that push is the right thing? Because every child will come back and say that, hey, I don't want to do it anymore. And I have faced with my own daughter too.
Absolutely.
There's things that she was doing and at some point she would cry and say, I don't want to do it. And I took the first approach and I said, okay, it's fine. Let me know what you want to do, because I wanted her to be happy more than being forced to doing something. Would you say that forcing works?
I think if you find yourself always pushing your kids, I don't think then that's a partnership approach to parenting. I think that you're imposing your will on the child and not really being a good listener. The right approach probably, I think, is more of a balanced one, where there are some activities the kids are doing that they really enjoy, that they gravitate towards, it speaks to their strengths, they want to go do that, and you're supporting and encouraging that. And then there are some weaknesses that they might have, some development opportunities, and maybe there's one activity that you're pushing on them that's the right thing for them to do, and as a parent you understand that. Maybe once in a while that's okay. But for the most part, if everything that they're doing is all about push, 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 I don't think that's the right approach.
But on the note of push, 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 I mean, every kid is getting pushed around. Like, you know, like Vidya, there are many other parents who are pushing their kids to excel and pick up something and excel. Now, your kid is growing up in that environment. Now, you're not pushing your child, other people are. Your child is going to be always behind. So, since everyone's pushing, do you feel that peer pressure to push?
I do. I think parenting is very tough right now because we have 2 things that are going on. The world is becoming very competitive, or at least that's a perception. We all feel like there are all these different kids who are all getting ahead, and if we don't push our kids, they won't get ahead enough. At the same time, we have to remember that our kids are going out in that very competitive world. Every day, if you've done your job right, if you've made their role as a student clear, you have high expectations of them and you've made that clear, and you're providing them with the right support. I think that most kids these days know that they need to go out there and compete, and they're trying their best. If at home you're just always being aggressive as well, then there is no sort of safe haven for your kids. Kids are getting very stressed. There's a lot more teenage depression. In the high school that my son will be going to, there was just a suicide last year, and this is getting more and more common. So I think a little bit of, as parents, we need to figure out how do we provide balance to our kids in an increasing competitive and aggressive world where kids can come home and know no matter what, I'll have unconditional love.
Now,
I have
is
parents who
our
support me.
community responsible for bringing this culture? Our parents always pushed us. We had no choice. We couldn't even say yes or no. I mean, yes, you have to do it means you have to do it. Now, are we bringing that culture to a country that is so different, and there are so many other opportunities here than we had back home. Do you think it's the right thing to do by bringing that culture here in the US of pushing and always wanting them to excel, not leaving any space for them to even interact with their peers or their neighbors?
Here's a simple thing. The people who have emigrated from India and come here are a certain type of people. They're here because they themselves were very ambitious, very aggressive, wanting to do better. It's not surprising that their kids are going to be the same. And it's not surprising that they have that attitude. So I think if you know your child well, there is no harm in saying, I want excellence in whatever you do. Whatever you do to the best of your ability. You don't take a pass on it. I think it's fine. What's wrong with that? I think, how are we going to help them face the real world where they're going to be competing in the workforce, in the music studio, in wherever they happen to be, if we don't expect that excellence
Well,
from them?
balance, we all agree, is the right thing to do, but we don't keep that balance, and that's why we are having this debate today. We don't keep that balance, and the question is, by not keeping the balance, are we harming the kid more, or we are helping them grow and excel in an area that we feel they should excel in? We are there to just provide them guidance, but sometimes we push a little too much. We feel that guidance we take in our stride and feel whatever we want them to do, they should do. And that is where the debate is, whether that's a right or the wrong thing to do. It could be right or it could be wrong. We don't know that. Thank you so much for joining us in this debate today.
Galati Financial. We work with an independent broker-dealer with no predisposition towards any firm or products. Unlike large Wall Street firms who may have a conflict of interest, we truly represent you with no bias whatsoever. Our value offerings are customized to your personal needs. Our systems are transparent and inspire complete confidence in our clients. We've been doing what is right for you since 1982.
We are always here for you.
For an astrological reading to see what the future holds for you, get advice on career, family, relationships, and life's unexpected surprises.
Call Pandit Parashar with over 35 years experience.
And welcome back to Women Now. Now this show is all about magic. I'm not talking about your rabbit from the hat or creepy holiday entertainment kind of magic. I'm talking about tricks and illusions that can even turn a bullish hip-hop artist or a football player into a giggling child. I was honored to sit and talk with none other than magician Peter Morrison. So let's work our magic. Tell me, Peter, most magicians get hooked onto magic at a very young age. Describe your first encounter with magic and illusion, and what really prompted you to become a magician?
Well, I'm fortunate. My parents, in their infinite wisdom, hired a magician as our primary babysitter.
Wow.
And he was really great at it. So, I mean, I got like, he'd come over.
So you pretty much were entertained with magic every day, is that what you tell me?
Well, I actually just immediately took interest. So I started practicing and he started coaching me. And he actually came to my show about 2 years ago. And
Wow.
I got to see him again after 36 years. It was marvelous.
He must be really proud of you.
He was excited, I think a little envious that I'd actually made a career out of it.
You're the maestro now.
Well, I tried.
Now, there are different kinds of performers.
Yeah.
For example, comedians are so used to catering to a tougher crowd. What kind of audiences do you entertain, and who is easy to work with, and who are the difficult ones?
Well, we live in the Bay Area, so inherently we have a very analytical audience. A lot of engineers, computer scientists, and they all like to come to my show.
Are they always taking a peek and trying to see what you're doing
Absolutely.
with your pockets?
So I try. So again, you asked the question earlier. So I think about how are they going to process a trick, and what are they going to think? So I try to almost remove from their mind all these elements. So I will point out, oh, I know you might be thinking this.
So would you conveniently say that magic is a combination of illusion and distraction?
Well, it's a lot of psychology. A lot of psychology and understanding people. My audiences change from every single show, so I never know who's going to come.
Can we perform something which is
Live
everybody
magic.
who's watching Women Now?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, since
let's
I have
do
a
it.
celebrity with me today,
Oh,
this is perfect.
thank you.
What I would like to do actually is I would like to get your autograph.
Okay.
I've heard wonderful things
Okay.
that you've told me. No, I'm just teasing.
Well, I will believe everything you tell me.
Of course. Now, I want you to remove anyone you'd like, and this is very different.
Okay.
Because I will get to see the card as well.
Okay.
This will make it much easier.
All right.
Remove a card.
I know there's something else to it, but
Remove a card that's red. Any red card you'd like.
okay. And show it to you?
Oh, show it to me and show it to our friends at home.
Okay.
But this is not going to be good enough. I want to get your autograph on that card.
So you were not kidding.
I
Okay.
wasn't kidding, folks. We know who she is. Please, sign
on the
your
card.
name
On the card.
as big as possible.
Okay.
To Peter. Having the endorsement makes it worth millions. This is lovely. Oh, with hugs and kisses. Look at this. Look at that. I'm keeping this forever. This is wonderful.
Okay.
Now, all right. Now we're going to use your very special card for something. Well, this is going to be a little bit interesting.
Okay.
If you see it again, we'll know it's yours now. It's very simple. We're going to place your card right here. Now you get to be the skeptic for me tonight. Okay. Today, I would like you to make sure that the card goes in all of the way. How was that?
Good.
Nothing's happened. Right? I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
But this is what's going to happen. I'm going to try and literally make it appear here.
Okay.
Okay, so this will be exciting. Now, I'll do it more than once even. Are you ready?
Yes.
Now, that was the fastest I've ever done that. Maybe it's because I'm on TV. Let's do it again.
Oh my
You
goodness.
can't miss the card.
Oh wow.
Let's try it again.
That isn't magic. That is for real.
Let's try it again. Would you please, all the way?
Okay.
Mix them up a lot.
Now this is crazy if it comes out as my card.
All right, now not yet. Not yet. SMITHA.
Yes.
The camera will really know.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And
My pleasure.
we can't wait to see more magic today.
All right.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Women Now is brought to you by Intero, Gulati Financial, Building Kids, El Camino Hospital, and Pandit Parashar.
Susan, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Now, first tell me, you've done so many things in life. You're the guru of innovation, crowdsourcing, and co-creation guru. Now, what has been your biggest achievement amongst everything?
No, I think every phase of my life I've had a focus, and so achieving that at the time was the most important thing. I don't want to be doing what I've done in the past today, so I think right now I'm most interested in figuring out really what defines different innovation skills, and then finding the most innovative people all over the world, whether they live in a village or they live in a high-tech society, and allowing them to participate in solving some of the world's biggest problems. So that's what I can do through the power of crowdsourcing.
Now, when you say that, I want to understand what is crowdsourcing, because that's a term that many of our viewers, including myself, are not very clear. What is crowdsourcing? What do you mean by that word?
Well, crowdsourcing is really a different way of solving problems. So instead of the traditional way, which is usually experts, with a lot of specialized knowledge trying to solve the problems. Instead, with crowdsourcing, we put the problem out to a crowd, and they may or may not be experts. Most likely they're not experts. But through the dynamics of crowd interaction, which I can explain a little further, they have tremendous power to generate a wide array of potential solutions and debate them and deliberate over them.
If I give you one word, describe that word in a line or two. What comes to your mind first about the word, okay? Engagement.
Well, I'm very focused. So whatever I'm working on, I would say I have a very deep level of engagement in it.
What is your dream job?
I'm doing it.
What is innovation and talent in your mind?
Well, innovation is really about surprise. It's about bringing unexpected combinations together, and talent is magic. I mean, I think we're all fascinated with talent, whether it's athletic or performance or innovation talent. There's a certain magic to it. And I hope it always will have magic.
What about women?
Beautiful, powerful,
Crowdsourcing.
awe-inspiring.
Sexuality.
Whose?
Women.
Well, I saw the debate you had on the program before, and I think that, in a work setting, sexuality, whether male or female, just has no place. I think it's a distraction. So if a man were to come in wearing like super tight pants and a skimpy undershirt, I would think that's very inappropriate. And I think when a woman does the same thing, I feel the same way. So in that regard, I think we're on equal footing. I think gender is part of what I bring. I think my work is very much a reflection of the fact that I'm a woman, and I solve problems in a female way, and so I bring that, and I think that's really powerful. And I'm neither shy about that, nor do I need to push that in anyone's face. A woman walks in the room, everybody knows you're a woman. You don't need to do anything to bring attention to that. Just be with your femininity, follow it and bring it. And I think it's so valuable and powerful, and there's just really no issue.
Well, apart from sexuality, what other strengths do you think a woman has?
I know I solve problems differently than men do. And I think this is true of the women I work with too, we consider a lot more factors. And I've actually done a lot of work in the past that was in specifically female-oriented products. And so I've had a chance to really study this, and women really do consider many, many, many more factors in making a decision. And so our conclusions are actually better informed, whereas a lot of times guys will go, one piece of information, boom. And we even looked at the effects on financial returns for women investors versus male investors. And over time, women do much better as investors. We don't make as much during the boom markets, but we don't lose half as much during the down markets. And over time, that has a massive effect, and we actually outperform guys. There's just really nothing to worry about anymore. I think we should just leave that whole debate behind and just bring it. Just move forward as a woman and embrace it.
Well, it clearly indicates that you think women could have been a lot more successful if they used, everything in their power. But they are not. So where do you think they dropped the ball? Why do you think that many women are not coming to the top? What would your advice be to aspiring women?
Well, I think there are two things. One is some women really aren't that aspiring. That's something you can't really blame anyone else. So if you really are aspiring, go take action. That would be the same for a man. You have to just go and do it and take risks and get clear and take action. So that explains some part of it. The other piece is that women often go into a business setting and they don't understand that we have to negotiate for what we want. So the reason that guys typically make more over time than women do is that even from the beginning, their entry-level jobs, guys will come in and they'll negotiate for more. And then their raises are all calculated over the years on that higher base. So girls, don't think you're going to walk in and just take whatever they offer you. You have to know what you want, you have to learn that, it's a skill, and you have to also feel, you have to own that you deserve that. So I think part of why I have done well is I'm unashamed to ask for what I need and I want, and I'm also clear that I'm not going to discount myself. So just if you bring that and you carry that in your bearing, I think it makes a huge difference. And so don't think you can just show up and take whatever you're given, and you're going to be paid the same as everybody else.
It's a great piece of advice, and thank you so much for giving us that. And I'm going to do that next time.
Alrighty.
When I go in, I'm not going to walk out without getting exactly what I want.
Well, yeah, or or at least close to it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Well, viewers, that's all we have time for you today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Now, our quote for the day. It's better to do one thing right than 10 things wrong. Please like us on Facebook and tell us what you thought about the show today. We'll see you next week, same time, same place.